Tell us about yourself.
Okay, I'm male. Lost the chat. And, about myself. My name's Dave Kari. A lot of people started to call me Dave Voodoo. That's only because of the gym, because they couldn't remember my second name. That's all right. So that's how that worked. Born in Manchester, moved out of Manchester when very young to Mac. Stayed here 40 odd years. Now I've moved out to Leek and then Cheddleton, but I've been around. Not living around, but I've fucked off around the country a bit and travelled about. And wish I'd travelled more abroad. I have been abroad a lot, but for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But now I'm doing it for pleasure.
Okay.
So that's pretty good. So that's what happens when you're older.
Yeah. When did you get into martial arts? When did that journey start?
The journey started when I watched Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee. Okay, that's the journey started, because I didn't really understand what the fuck I was watching, right? And I didn't really, but I just saw this fucking dude jumping around, kicking fuck out of everyone. I thought, that's pretty cool, right? But it was weird how we saw it, because me and my sister Joanne watched it well over 100 times. And this is why I know every fucking word of it, right? Okay. And the reason why is because we had the old Betamax videos. Yeah. And my dad came with one videotape, and it was Magnificent Men in Their Flying Machines. It was dog shit. But my dad figured out you can put sellotape over the hole in the video cassette, and you can record over it, right? Yeah. Okay. So we recorded over it with Enter the Dragon, the original version with all the nunchuck scene and all that shit. And it was that good. And it's the only video we had. So we just played it to death, right? You know what I mean? And we literally wore it out, okay? Yeah. And so I watched it over 100 times, and that's really switched me on to martial arts. But I didn't really do any martial arts until I was 16. I wanted to join a karate club. Mum and Dad wouldn't sign the paperwork.
Why not?
Good fucking question. Because my dad said he didn't want to sign away me getting hurt.
Right.
Didn't want to sign a piece of paper saying it's okay for me to be hurt.
Right.
What I found out later in life, he was a bit of a brawler when he was younger, and he didn't want me to go into that lifestyle.
Right.
Okay. But I was already there, man. You know what I mean? I was getting my head kicked.
Too late.
Yeah, too late, right? I was getting my head kicked in at school, so on a regular basis, being the littlest guy and the quietest guy in the school. My mum kind of gave me mixed messages saying, ignore him, turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
Then they kick your head in more, right? You know what I mean? And then at about 14, I started hitting back. And I found, if I just lose my temper and go fucking crazy, sometimes I win, right? Yeah, right, sometimes I win. And that's what I was doing. So by 16, I'd got, the first time I got stabbed, really.
You got stabbed?
Yeah. So
oh my God.
Got into a fight, and then this, because when you fight enough, sooner or later people are going to start using tools, aren't they, right? So this guy stabbed me, and I covered my face, cut all my arms up, and I met this guy called Graham, and he said, "You've got to come to this karate club." And I was 16 by then, so I could sign myself in. He was a brown belt in karate, so I joined karate, and I was under my sensei was called Alf Burgoyne. Really nice guy. I know him to this day. And even now and again I bump into him, we still say hello. And he came here when I first started this gym, and he was sat over there watching me teaching wrestling. He said, I know nothing about wrestling, he's a karate guy, but he felt immensely proud. I hope he felt immensely proud that he was sat in my gym watching me teaching martial arts, and which was a big thing for me, more so than for him, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, while he was here, weirdly, one of our guys was a bit of a spaz. And all the guys were complaining about him, he'd gone, and they were all complaining about it in front of my first sensei.
Yeah.
And he said, I had a student like that. I said, give him time, he'll develop. And he looked at me like, I thought, was that a spaz? And I thought, I fucking was.
You might be.
No, I fucking was. No. When I think about it, he used to have to kick the fuck out of me regularly.
Oh, bloody hell.
Because I used to lose my rag, sparring.
Yeah.
And I used to try and ding people. And then he'd say, come on me. And then he'd kick me across the room till I couldn't get up off the floor. And then I think he was kind of waiting for me to have that moment of realisation.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
And have a bit of self-control. And I did eventually. But it took some time. I took some beatings. You know what I mean? So but that's okay. I learnt a lot from that man.
Yeah.
Not just karate. I learnt a lot from that man. So
yeah. So at what point did you think, okay? So you opened the school, but at what point did you kind of go, you know what? I really just want to teach it. I want to teach it. Instead of like just training it yourself, I want to show other people.
It wasn't kind of a one moment thing. It kind of evolved. But I jacked in kickboxing, Thai boxing when I was 29 because I promised my partner at the time that I would. I can't remember why now. I probably agreed. And then I was teaching people to street fight and self-defense stuff privately, just to make a few quid on the side of work. And I realised my weakness was grappling. Right. So when it went to the floor, my weakness was there a bit, nothing serious. So I got together with a few friends who were all like martial arts coaches doing kung fu and shit, and we trained in my back garden, trying to figure out a real way of fighting. Okay, how do we apply this to reality? Yeah. And we just kick fuck out of each other every night in my back garden. My neighbours must have thought we were mental, right? And they had like 6 or 7 guys. Yeah, they probably do, yeah. And we had 6 or 7 guys in the back garden kicking shit out of each other. And then arguing about which was the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, then we started seeing videos of Valley and stuff. Remember, the internet wasn't a thing then.
Yeah.
So it was all videos and books.
Yeah.
Right? So we started doing all that. And Valley Judo's the way to go. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to fucking do some wrestling because see what they got to offer.
Yeah.
So I looked around for wrestling clubs. I went to the Snake Pit. They wouldn't let me in the door because I did MMA and mixed it with like, well, it wasn't called MMA then. It was Valley Judo.
Yeah.
And to piss people off, we wore camo stuff and paramilitary kind of shit, right? And this is another reason, by the way. We had, you know, like MMA shorts in Britain are like board shorts.
Yeah, a lot longer.
Yeah, right, yeah. So because we didn't want to wear all the lycra fucking shorts that the Brazilians wore, you know, in Valley Judo.
Valley Judo pants.
Yeah, we didn't want us dicks hanging out and stuff. It was all a bit weird for us, homophobic. So we started wearing like, you know, the camo shorts.
Yeah.
And then surfing shorts, board shorts and stuff like that. And we had this kind of almost like an affinity with extreme sports like the borders and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
we kind of took that look on. So that's why MMA shorts started to look like board shorts.
Right.
Because the pockets were getting torn and stuff. So the first ones were Sprawl shorts. So Sprawl was the first British company making...
Sprawl?
Sprawl, yeah.
When were they? When was that?
Oh, fuck knows. Long time ago.
They were like one of the first brands?
No, as far as I'm aware, they were the first brand in this country.
Wow.
You only had 2 rash guards and 2 shorts. Both, they were either black or navy, that's it.
Yeah.
And they had Sprawl written down them. They were cool as fuck. I look like I was sponsored by them.
Yeah. So what? That's how you decided to start grappling then?
Yeah. Went into grappling. Then one of our guys came in a gi. I joined a wrestling gym in Stockport under Phil Wright, called Revolution Gym, and it was a revolution because it was like they're all doing new shit.
Yeah.
You know, all stuff nobody did. You know what I mean? The boxing, the dirty boxing was better. It was kind of. It started. MMA had just landed, so UFC just started. The guy in a gi beat everyone up, and then next minute, a couple of lads bought a gi. Came in our wrestling gym with a gi. I was like, oh, these fucking gay boys doing here. And then they started beating us. Right? So it was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We've got to get a gi.
Yeah.
Right. So we all went to Decathlon and bought like judo gis and shit, and I had a judo gi for about 6 months, and I had to import a BJJ gi from Japan, I think it was. And I don't quote me on this.
It cost a bloody.
Oh, it did. It cost me fucking mint. I wanted a proper BJJ one.
Yeah.
And it was not to tell. It's oh my god, the name of it will come to me in a bit. But they're still around.
Yeah.
They're still around. It's a Japanese brand, but it'll come to me later. Anyway, and I've still got that jacket.
You still got it?
Yeah, I didn't get the pants. I gave me mate the pants because they're massive on me.
Yeah.
And he
I think I remember you telling me actually that you've still got like
the gift, my first gi jacket.
Yeah, but you said you've got as well nearly every gi and stuff you've ever had in your attic.
Oh yeah, I can't part them. Right, so I've got a fucking load.
You're a hoarder.
I'm a gi hoarder. I've got a fucking load of gis in my attic in bags that are worn out or too small for me now and shit like that, but I don't care, I'm not getting rid of them. I've got half a dozen under my bed. I've got a couple here.
Yeah.
You know, I've got them everywhere.
So when you started training, how long were you a white belt in Jiu-Jitsu?
Actually, not long enough. Not long, in my opinion. I wasn't blue belt when I got... In my opinion now, looking back, I don't think I was blue belt when I got my blue belt. Didn't have stripes then. my BJJ coach was Rodney King. He lived in South Africa.
Right.
So we got him in over, like, a couple of times a year.
Yeah.
And he graded us.
When you would, was this when it was just kickboxing that you were doing mostly?
Yeah, well, I stopped doing the kick. Well, I was supposed to stop doing the kickboxing, but because they were doing like dirty boxing and stuff,
Right.
I was well into that as well. So I was still banging, but in a different way to tie in kickboxing.
Yeah.
And we're mixing it it's kind of MMA-ish.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and but doing mainly wrestling. And so anyway, so he came across and he graded me and he just whacked me with this belt and threw it at me. Said, "Fucking put that on." I'm like,
Really?
Okay. Yeah, it was.
That's classic way of doing it. Though.
Right, yeah. But I mean, I was sat there after the class with just a rash guard on. He came, fucking had a welt like that down my back. Yeah, but I was like, and then fancy blue belt. Anyway, at the time, I thought, I deserved it because I was great.
Yeah.
But now I look back, I was dog shit. I was really dog shit. But I must admit, I kind of did this. I used to have this cool scissor sweep. And I was rolling with my mate, John. And luckily, John's my mate, and he was quite compliant, so it made the scissor sweep look fucking mint.
Yeah.
Right, and I did it twice in a row with him. And I think we kind of both felt that, that was pretty cool. Yeah. And I think that's what tipped it for me on my blue belt.
Did he see you doing it?
Yeah. He watched me doing it. So, but now look back, I wasn't. And I needed to grow into it.
I think everyone who gets a belt still feels that they're not.
Yeah, I think that's true. But I look back as a black belt now, knowing I fucking wasn't.
Yeah.
I got it a bit early.
Yeah.
But about 6 months later, I probably filled the shoes. About 6 months later.
Yeah. So you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. You're a black belt in kickboxing. You've actually in jiu-jitsu. I've
got a degree. Yeah, I've got one degree on my black belt.
Yeah, first degree black belt, and in
kickboxing, I've got 4.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm due my 5th this year. Just letting you know. Just reminding my wife, I'm due my fucking 5th.
Get Dave.
I'm due my fucking 5th stripe this year.
Stripe. Yeah. Right now. So yeah, the kickboxing. Tell us about your kickboxing coach then. When you first started the kickboxing, who was your coach again? Sorry.
Well, my first karate coach was Alf Burgoyne, right? And then I said to Alf, I wanted to fight, not points, I wanted to fight full contact. He says he doesn't do that. And he said, but he completely understands that I want to fight full contact. Because I was just like that, right? So I went, right, cool. So I went to a demonstration by Master Sken. Master Sken first came to this country and he had a club in Macclesfield on Black Road it isn't there now, it's like a community centre on Black Road.
Yeah.
It's been knocked down and houses built on it now. He did a demo there and I watched him spinning around in bowls of fucking glass with bare feet and these fucking well-cool shorts and anklets and stuff and kicking apples off swords and shit. And I went, I need to do that, right? Yeah. So I joined his club and he opened a place in Stockport. This one then shut down because he wasn't really making anything. And so I went and trained in Stockport. Did that for about 1.5 years with Master Sken, maybe more, probably more. And but I was a real gym bitch. You know what I mean? And I trained everywhere. I went everywhere. I learnt fucking loads there. This guy called C. Wilkie, who's got the Thai boxing gym across town. He was coaching me at the time.
Oh, cool.
And I learnt lots off Steve. That's where I met Steve. And I've trained with Steve since. Many years later, I went back and did some training with him as well across town. And then I started setting myself up in fights after that. And I wasn't ready. I was getting my head kicked in. And but I was still fat. I just liked fighting. So I just took fights on shows and stuff.
Yeah.
Mainly into clubs at first, and then I did some smokers and stuff like that. So the old days, the club smoker. Because everyone smoked in pubs and bars. Oh, so it was like a cloud of smoke that you're fighting in.
Oh, shit.
Right,
really?
So you call them smokers.
I can't imagine cardio in one of them.
Oh, I actually smoked.
Oh, right.
I stopped smoking 8 weeks before every fight.
Yeah. Not in the ring while you were in there? Or...
No, not while I was in there. But about 8 weeks before a fight, I stopped smoking. And then I'd train for the fight. And then you'd be stood with your opponent at the bar with a pint or a whiskey and a cigar.
Wow.
So, you know what I mean?
That sounds mint.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, it was a bit of a crazy time. And
fucking government taking that away from us.
I know, right? He thought smoking was bad for you.
Yeah.
Anyway, and Yeah, it kind of evolved like that. So I just took fights everywhere. And I ended up doing this kind of American-style kickboxing because a lot of gyms out there were doing kickboxing. I didn't understand the difference in Thai and kickboxing. But then I went to a kickboxing gym. I was fucking hammering everyone.
Yeah.
Because I'd done Thai.
Yeah.
But I kept getting bollocked for kneeing them because you weren't allowed to knee. You weren't allowed to leg kick. You had to kick above the waist. So I kept getting bollocked for that. And I weren't allowed to grab them, and I was always grabbing them.
Yeah.
And I was getting bollocked everywhere. But then when I fought in the American-style kickboxing arena kind of thing, I was nailing everyone because I was used to full contact from the Thai boxing.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit easier for me because I was ready for the full contact, and that was a bit of a shock for them. And but I had a real attitude problem, and I was hyper aggressive. I was having this conversation with Tony the other night about my aggression levels. So I'm doing a degree in sports psychology, and part of it is this levels. I'm testing for levels of aggression. So I thought I'd do it myself. So I did it. I'm still off the fucking scale, right? And I actually thought I'd calmed right the fuck down.
Yeah.
But apparently, well, if I have, well, I have calmed down. But so I don't know what my levels were when I was younger, but they were pretty fucking high.
Yeah.
So I was hyper aggressive. So I took any fight.
That helps for it. That's what you need, isn't it? To get in the ring and.
Well, it was for me. A lot of people don't do that. I mean, I've learned over the years. A lot of people go in there cold. Yeah. And they like to go in like a machine and cut. And that's good. I mean, it all depends on you as a person. Yeah. But I couldn't fight like that. I was an emotional fighter. But that's because of where I came from and how it started. Right. And my personality as a kid and your upbringings and shit like that. Exposure in life. So I had to be super fucking emotional, you know? Yeah. I wanted to kill the cunt. Yeah. You know? I had to want to kill the cunt. Yeah, for you to get in there and do it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was terrified, by the way. Yeah. I've always been scared of fighting. Yeah. So 3 days before a fight, I never had a problem hitting weight because I couldn't eat. I was shitting myself and throwing up for 3 days before a fight. Awful. It's fucking horrendous. My fight record was positive, but it wasn't very good, right? Because I just took every fight that was going. Just went for it. Right? And so I'd really be nervous as fuck. And then, but when I was in the ring, I'd kind of get angry at myself for being nervous and being scared. Yeah. And then when the other guy comes in looking cocky, I go, oh, you motherfucker. Yeah. You know, don't you fucking bitch like that. I'm going to fucking wreck you tonight. Yeah. I'm going to shag you in front of your fucking wife. You know what I mean? And there's nothing you can do. When you're in this ring, no, the only person that can save your life is that fucking guy there. Pointing to the ref. In my head. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I'd get angry then. And that's what drove me. But that helped you. Helped you. Yeah. But if someone was dog shit in the ring and they couldn't really fucking, you know, because matching kickboxing matches isn't like matching boxing. Yeah. Sometimes you get mismatched really badly. Yeah. So somebody be really crap or really fucking good or out your league or maybe shouldn't be in the ring. So if they were tippy-tapping, I never had the... You know,
didn't want to hurt them.
Yeah, I didn't want to hurt them. I didn't have that thing where I wanted to kill them. Yeah. But then someone fucking banged me. Boom! And I felt it and I was like seeing stars. I'm like, oh, fucking hell, now it's going. Yeah. Right? You know what I mean? Now we're having it. And then I'd love that. Win or lose, I'd love that fight. Yeah. I'd love that fight, yeah. When did you stop? When did you decide to stop then? I was 29, I stopped fighting. I had a lot of problems because I started hurting everywhere. My doctor said, you can't just stop training. Yeah. It's bad for you because I was training twice a day and then suddenly just did nothing. Yeah. And that's when I had to... Twice a day? Yeah. All the time? Wow. Yeah. That's 6 days a week, maybe, yeah. Wow. I used to run to work. I used to work in... about 6 miles away. And I used to run to work and cycle back. The next day I'd cycle to work and then run back. So that's part of my training. Yeah. And, you know, it saved me having to do that. I was working full time and everything. Well, I was, you know. Full time as well? As 2 times a day? Yeah, yeah. Wow. Bloody hell, man. That sounds like it burned you out. That burned me out like mad. And then once I got home, once I ran home, then I'd go to the gym and start training for 2 hours. Yeah. Fucking hell. Yeah. Bloody hell. So the kickboxing and you had the fights and that. So what age? So you're 29 when you were 29 when you stopped. Yeah, early 30s when I took up wrestling. Early 30s when you took up wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Yeah. So tell us about what level were you at when you started training with Ben Poppleton? Oh, because, well, we've got his logo up on here. We fight under the Gordo Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, banner. So tell us about that. There was a bit of a fallout at the gym I was at. Right. Political shit happens, right, sometimes. Anyway, I talked to my coach, Phil. I said, look, I always wanted a gym of my own. I was coaching there, by the way, for a few years, doing clinch stuff. Oh, were you? I was the clinch coach for the MMA class for 3 years. But I was just asked to do that, right? You know what I mean? Because of my Thai background. So that was cool. And I said, I just want to start my own thing. And I'm very traditional, so I talked to my coach and go, would you mind? Kind of thing. You know, I wanted his blessing. And he went, yeah, fuck yeah. So then I said, what are you going to call it? So he said, I'm going to call it Voodoo.
Why did you decide to call it Voodoo?
It's a joke between me and him. Because he used to do PTs, not me. He used to give PTs, and sometimes he'd use me as a demo. And you'd have people come up from down south sometimes do PTs with him, because he was fucking good, Phil, right? He was dead analytic, and he knew what he was doing. And so you'd have these PTs and go, where the fuck do you get this from? How do you do that? And he'd go, oh, it's Voodoo. Right, so we do Voodoo. Right, okay. And I said, fucking hell, I'm using that as a fucking name. I'm teaching fucking Voodoo. I'm not teaching martial arts, I'm teaching fucking Voodoo. And that's where Voodoo came from.
That's cool.
Yeah? So that's how I kind of nicked it.
I thought it was just a cool name.
It is cool. But the thing is, my favourite colour is orange as well.
There you go.
Which is pretty fucking Voodoo, right? Because it always reminds me of like Halloween. Orange and black, Voodoo, kind of worked.
Yeah.
But I have had phone calls off. I had a phone call once of a woman, and I said, is this Voodoo Gym? I went, yeah. So, and then she started giving this big lecture about Christianity, and she didn't believe in Voodoo. I was like, I'm sorry, why are you calling? Do you want to join the gym? I said, I don't do Voodoo. So, what the fuck are you phoning me for then?
I thought you actually were doing Voodoo.
You still, I was teaching fucking Voodoo. Right, you know what I mean?
God.
Yeah, fucking retard.
Oh. Anyway, yeah, Ben Poppleton.
Oh yeah, Ben, yeah. So I started my own gym, and I didn't really do BJJ. I started this as an MMA gym. I started at AstraZeneca, did 2 years there, and then I got this place. It's a bit of a story itself, but I got this place off of...
There was a place at AstraZeneca?
Yeah. Well, they've got a gym there, right? And I used to work there, and I took a golden handshake, but I still had access to the gym, and I was hiring the room twice a week.
Oh, right, okay.
And I was teaching, I put the mats out twice a week, taught whoever turned up, put them away, right?
Oh, that's awesome.
I did that for 2 years, and then I moved here and lost half my students. I only moved down the road, lost half my students. As soon as you move, you lose lots of students.
Even though you're only just going this far?
Yeah, right. It's only down the fucking road, isn't it?
Where else were they going to go?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Anyway, so I started teaching here and started again, basically. And I was teaching MMA, so I didn't have a belt on. So I became the longest serving blue belt in history, I think. Because I didn't put a gi on for ages, and I was just doing MMA and wrestling and kickboxing. And then my guys wanted ranking, and I couldn't rank them. I was a blue belt. You know, they wanted like promoting and stuff. So I got involved with Combat Base. I phoned up Darren Curry, and him and Helen were really nice, and they kind of took me on. So I was with them for a good while, and then until like purple belt. And then purple belt was doing PTs with Cam.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, ASW, what then was ASW Manchester.
Yeah, Subzone now, aren't they?
Subzone now, right? And so Cam was my coach, and so I kind of converted to Cam, and then Cam taught me fucking loads, to be fair, and then I got through to blue belt, brown belt, and then with Cam, and Cam wanted me. I didn't know this, right? I was trying to get Anil and Tony promoted to their black belt. So I had a word with Cam, and to give black belts out, Cam had associated with Ben.
Right, okay.
Right, to get people promoted to black, okay? And I was talking to Ben and Cam, saying these two guys need the fucking black belt, and I rocked up and they gave me my black belt, which was completely fucking shock to me.
Yeah.
But because I thought I was dicking about.
Yeah.
I wasn't even fucking. I was sat there dicking about with the man on the mat like a fucking retard, thinking it's them two they're looking at.
No changes then.
I thought they were looking at them two for the black belt, but it was me they were looking at. Anyway, and then so I got promoted black, and then soon after, some weeks after, they got promoted to black. But which is what I wanted. So that's how it is. So now I'm under Ben, and well, I still consider Cam kind of my coach, because he was a big mentor, he was a massive influence in the style of wrestling and jits.
Because I guess you went from blue to brown while you were training with him.
No, I got me purple off Darren Helen.
Oh, okay,
and then he converted me to brown.
Right.
And then black.
Okay.
So that's basically it. He got me through that higher level stage. And yeah, because it was a bit of a dick. I was kind of lost, but he kind of gave me a bit more direction, showed me how to go that way. So that's where we are. And so although I can still consider Cam like one of my mentors and stuff, Ben is actually my BJJ coach now.
Right.
Okay. So he's the guy who kind of promotes me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if and when. Okay. And so that's where that's from. So if any of our guys get a black belt, or I recommend them, it's Ben that promotes them.
Right.
Because I'm only 1 degree. You need 3 degrees for that.
Right. Okay. So you need 3-degree black belt to be able to give a black belt.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, and obviously Ben's one of the dirty dozen. He's way beyond that. So it's okay.
Yeah. What? So yeah, Ben is.
Last time I checked, he was 4th or 5th degree, I think.
Wasn't he like someone mentioned at one point? I think it might have been you that he was like one of the early kind of black belts.
Yeah. Well, apparently he was right now. I can't say it's a fact. I mean, Ben will confirm or deny this. He's one of the dirty dozen. So he was like one of the first 12 non-Brazilians to come out of Brazil with a Gracie black belt. Right.
Wow.
So they're quite, and I've trained with a few of the dirty dozen now, which I'm quite proud of. And anyway, and he was the first Gracie black belt in this country. However, I think there was another black belt in BJJ in this country, but only one other. But it wasn't a Gracie black belt. It was maybe, I don't know who else.
Yeah, maybe like Machado.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Couldn't tell you.
Interesting.
But Ben, as far as I know, he was the first Gracie BJJ black belt in this country.
That's
but
awesome.
second black belt overall.
Cool.
If I've got my facts right, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
So he's got a lot of history, hasn't he?
Yeah, a lot of history. That's cool. And so then your lineage isn't too far from like the Gracies, I guess.
No. If you look at it that way, no, it's me, Ben, Gracie's. Well, his coach is DeLima.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's like he's like is he the father of half? No. Is he the father of half guard? Yeah, I think DeLima's the father of half guard.
No way.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I do.
Right, okay, right. So you're his illegitimate son.
How did it go then? When you first opened this gym, how fast did you get members? And what did you do to get members? Did you go out fucking
No, mate.
And...
No, it was word of mouth. I was working as a teacher. Yeah. You wouldn't fucking believe it, would you? I was a fucking teacher. I was a fucking teacher, right? I was a freelance teacher at colleges and universities doing like kind of leadership and management kind of courses. But I didn't mind doing any kind of course as long as it made me money. Anyway, and I did this in my spare time. So in fact, I was paying for this.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough students to pay for this.
Right.
We had half a dozen guys kicking fuck out of each other every night. So they'd be here at 6 o'clock or waiting outside the door. I'd turn up, because I was working in Manchester, I'd turn up in the car, 5:45, unlock the doors, everyone pile in. And you can ask Mark Crowley used to train then.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, he's like one of the longest members here, isn't he?
Yeah, he's one of them, yeah. And we used to get on the mat, and we'd do like an hour and a half of wrestling. Then we'd do an hour and a half of kickboxing. And if you wanted, sometimes we just go, what do you want to do tonight? Let's kick the fuck out of each other.
Yeah.
Everyone get MMA gloves on.
It was a lot more like less regimented. It was like turn up, you just do whatever.
You train about 3 hours a night, yeah.
Wow.
And you can stay for as much of it or as little as you want.
Yeah.
And sometimes somebody will go, oh, Dave, let's do some MMA. Oh, all right, let's get the gloves on. And
that's awesome. At what point did it start to then like turn into, okay, this is making money. This is
no, it wasn't making any money. It was good.
But at what point did it?
After I recruited Amanda.
Oh, wow, okay.
Right, so that's when it started making money. I was just losing money hand over fist. I was paying for it, basically, financing it. The guys thought somehow I was making millions out of 6 people.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't. It was just wasn't making anything, especially with the rent on this place.
Yeah.
It's fucking astonishing. Anyway, so...
Amanda's the business mind then.
Yeah. Well, what it is, she joined, her and her husband joined. Long story short, I was trying to pick Amanda up for 30, 40 years, right? Wow. I kept meeting her in different scenarios, work-wise. God, there she is again, I'm fucking after her. First time I met her, she threw me out of a pub. She was barman, and I got into a fight, she threw me out. I went in there to chat her up, but she threw me the fuck out. Anyway, so that's how it kind of went for the rest of our lives. And she just didn't want to know.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to chat her up and ask her out. Nothing happening. She had a fancy dress shop right below the gym.
Awesome.
Within a couple of months of me opening. And I saw her in there. I thought, I'm in there. Yeah. So I went in there, tried to chat her up, invited her up for some kickboxing lessons. And she came. She came with her husband. Right? So I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Right? Anyway, but I ended up really good mates with them. Right? And me and my missus used to go to their house for tea and things like that. And so on. So we were big mates, right? And unfortunately, her husband passed away some years later. And my missus kicked me out sometime after that, as it always happens. And it's a regular thing. And then we got together. But she was already coaching here by then. She was coaching my women's kickboxing class.
Oh, wow.
So it evolved differently. You can't, right, I tell you what, since I was young, I kind of got girlfriends, and women love fighters, or a lot of women love fighters, and usually the bad girls, which I had no issue with, right? And so they love fighters, right? But however, the issue is, when they get with you, they don't like the fact you go out and train every fucking night.
Oh, yeah.
They love the fact you're dating a fight, but they don't like the fact you're not there, right?
You never hang out with me, you know.
Yeah. Well, you haven't got a pair of gloves, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, but then they decide, okay, I'll come and train with you. So, well, that's cool. That's a great way of sorting that out. But then you can't train together because you have this dynamic, you know what I mean, relationship. You know, have you ever tried to teach your wife how to fucking drive? You know, it just doesn't work, right?
Yeah. Arguments.
Right. So, but if they're already a coach and they're already doing it, that's different. The dynamic's different.
Amanda was already doing kickboxing.
She was coaching it. Yeah, she did MMA, and she was a brown belt in kickboxing and everything. Oh, wow. And she was teaching my ladies kickboxing class. She was doing MMA, and then she started wrestling and doing jits, and so she was already coaching here. And then we ended up going out together and what have you. And then we got married. So the dynamic was different. She was already doing that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we worked really well together. So if it had been the other way around, it'd have been like fucking murder, right?
Yeah.
But no, that way around it works.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. That's a good dynamic to have.
Yeah. So anyway, so she realised the gym was going under because I said to her, like, I'm fucking broke. Because every time she gave me a car. Before we were together, she gave me a fucking car. She didn't mean she meant to sell it to me. So I didn't have a car to go teaching. Yeah. Right. So she says, I've got this car, you can have it. Right. So you give me a deposit and you can pay monthly. This is how trusting she was of me, because we were good mates. You pay monthly. So I thought, that's cool. So I gave her a deposit, I took the car keys, signed it over to me. Then we got together, started sleeping with her and never paid her again. But technically, it was our money anyway.
Yeah.
Because now we're together, right?
Yeah. This is our bank account now. This is our car. Oh, man.
Anyway, so she invested a huge amount of money into the gym.
Oh, wow, okay.
But she said I wasn't allowed near the money. Right? So I said, she'll handle, she was the businesswoman, not me, right? So I'll handle the money, I'll invest in the gym, we'll get it right, but you've got to start teaching separate martial arts, not just MMA. So she decided you've got to be kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, right, as separate. Otherwise,
people are scared.
People are scared. Yeah,
no one wants to go and just like when I did kickboxing, didn't I? Up until yellow belt and that, and took a few body shots, and I was like, I just haven't. I don't think I'm ready for this. Like, I just wasn't one of those people who just really likes to get in there. I really like the thought and thinking aspect of jiu-jitsu.
And the different animals, aren't
the tricking people, but not tricking them and getting it wrong and getting smacked in the mouth. Much prefer that. But I know that's a great idea to mix it up, because then you get people who just want to go and do that, want to go and do that, you know.
Now that's when we started making money.
Yeah.
And then the rent was paid. And then she said to me, you have to either decide you're going to stay a teacher for the rest of your life, or take the chance and run the gym, but you can't do both. Yeah. Okay. So then I took the chance, thought, well, I could always go back to teaching, right? So I thought, right, okay, I'll just run the fucking gym. That's what we did. And then I had to make a living. I didn't have a choice. So we're doing PTs in the day and stuff like that. Yeah.
So what happened at the gym during COVID then? When all that shit happened?
Not a fucking lot, mate. Right. To be honest with you, I thought it was a bit of a joke, COVID. I actually didn't believe it was going to happen, as most of us didn't. But I've got a few months before, I'd been diagnosed with a lung condition. So my doctor basically wrote to me and said, you have to isolate now, right? Because this is going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right? And I thought, what? What fucking joking? Like, no one else had isolated. He went, you are winding me. This is a fucking wind-up. No, everyone's walking around, right? Happy as fucking Larry. And he wants me to fucking isolate because I've got a lung condition, right? So he said, yeah. Right, so I went, okay, I'll take a week off, right? So I thought, I'll take a week off. So I took a fucking week off, got my classes covered for the week. And I seriously hardly left the house. And do you know, I quite enjoyed it. I thought, I've got a week's holiday, right? And I was healing up, all the injuries were healing up and stuff. I thought, this is all right. So by the end of the week, the whole fucking country was shut.
Yeah.
Right, I went, oh my fucking God, it's real, right? And they said, right, you're going to close your doors on your business and all this. Anyway, so I went, right, okay. So we did officially. And obviously, you know, all my coaches had keys, right? So if they happened to come in for security reasons to have a look around, to make sure it's all fucking, nobody was robbed. If they happened to roll around on the mat and fall over and wrestle each other on the way, that was okay. But I couldn't have regular members in.
Yeah.
So after the first week, I thought, oh my God, we're out of business. We're going to shut down. I was dead stressed about it. Amanda was kind of telling me, don't worry, be all right, be all right. And then we said, right, well, fuck it. If we go out of business, we shut down, let the place go. We'll start again sometime in the future. You know what I mean? We did it once, we did it again. Right, okay. So then we had the best fucking summer in my garden that I've ever had. Because the sun was out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I had this massive garden, mate, in my last house. It was fucking awesome. Me, Amanda, the fucking cat, the geese. We had geese and shit.
The geese.
We had geese, chickens and shit. It was...
Rolling with the geese.
Oh, mate, it was fucking mega. I had a great summer. Great summer. And every now and again, pop down, check, security check, go home. You know what I mean? It was all right. You know what I mean? It was a good fucking summer. Yeah. All the parents stopped paying, fair enough, because it's the kids. Half of our adults carried on paying all the way through fucking COVID.
That's amazing.
Because their income didn't go down.
Yeah.
Right? And they thought, well, the gym won't be there for us. But because of that, half of my adults carried on paying, they kept this place alive.
That's brilliant.
Right?
What a way to show support.
Oh, mate, you've no idea. Because, believe me, we didn't even cover... We were just scraping... You know, like businesses got like a 10 grand grant. Yeah. Thank Christ, because that just covered the fucking bills. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it was like that kept it, so that 10 grand did help. But our guys kept it alive. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we could reopen. But when we reopened, it was that silly ass shit. You had to stay 2 meters apart. So we all could have 6 guys in there or 8 guys. It was fucking ridiculous, you know what I mean? And I was giving them fucking aerobics. You try and teach wrestling without touching someone. Yeah. It's like fucking creepy as fuck. It's weird. All right, anyway, so did that for a bit, shut us down again, reopened again, and then boom.
Everyone.
Oh, mate, it went off the fucking scale of membership. I've never had that many people join up. Now, 3 months after the fucking gym opened properly again, never seen that many people on the mat. I was getting like 26, 28, 30 people coming in. We're fuck, mate, we have to start rearranging these classes so we can get more people in. Yeah. Wow, people must have just been sat at home just ready to just explode, you know? And I think people appreciated the other things in life, not work.
Yeah, the health.
The health. I've got to go out and do stuff I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Most men want to fight someone. Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, martial arts.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I want to beat the fuck out of someone. Yeah. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
you know
awesome.
What I mean? So that's COVID.
Yeah, you mentioned the parents there. So yeah, when did kids classes start here? Because I know that so you do teenage kids kids classes, which are like age like 12 to like 15 or something, isn't it? And then you've got juniors,
8 to 11,
8 to 11, and infants as well.
Yeah, from 4 to 7 years old.
When did that happen? When did you decide? You know what? We'll have a go.
I tried the kids classes a long time ago, and I was dog shit teaching kids. I didn't realise it was a skill in itself. As a teacher, I can teach adults, and coaching adults. I didn't realise how easy kids cry. when you do it again. It doesn't work, right? You can't do that with kids, right? So I didn't know how to teach kids, so I stopped the kids' classes because it was just stressing me the fuck out, right? And then Amanda again. comes to the rescue and say, let's start the kids' classes because that's going to pay the rent for you, right? And that's going to produce good children that are going to become great adults.
Yeah.
And I thought, of course it is, but I can't teach kids. She said, I will teach you how to teach kids. So she started teaching the kids' class, and then she was teaching me how to teach kids' classes.
Yeah.
So as I did things wrong, she went, no. And then she'd do it right, and then she goes, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
And it took a long time, but eventually I got it. And then I started to like it. The junior class, which you're involved with, right? I actually love that class.
It's brilliant.
I love that. I love the kids at that age.
Just watching them gain confidence.
Yeah.
And if they don't understand something and eventually they understand it, they kind of, you can see them kind of going,
yeah, I've learned something.
Bloody makes sense.
Yeah. I love that. That junior class, love it. Teenagers, really struggle with teenagers because they go all moody and silent, don't they?
Yeah. And that's just it. I thought that when I first was teaching the kid, I remember you saying to me, you were like, Dave, don't take them acting like they hate you.
Yeah.
Personally.
They hate everyone.
They hate everyone.
They hate everyone.
And I'm like, I don't really remember being like that, but I definitely was.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I was
like, but with the emo hair.
Yeah.
Shut up, Mum. You don't even know me properly. You know? Because you
fucking right. And I can imagine your emo hair.
Well, I remember walking in and I was like, how you doing, mate? And you went, and I was like, fuck you then.
Yeah, right. But to be honest with you, when you get past that and ignore that, they're good. They're good, you know. I like them. But you have to build relationships with them and stuff. But
you try to be cool. Hey, what's up, Holmes?
Yeah.
How's it going? Yeah, bump it.
Yeah.
They're just like, what's this guy?
I used to do that ironically.
Yeah.
And teenagers don't get irony.
No.
Right? So they just think I'm just being a really stupid old man.
Yeah.
But I find it highly amusing, so I used to keep doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Deliberately trying to be cool.
It is weird, like the whole, like the teaching aspect of jiu-jitsu. Because obviously when you learn it and you just do it, because someone else has taught you it, you just do it.
Yeah.
Whereas teaching, you really do have to break it down and think, okay,
different.
You know, how do I actually do this? And then it makes you better, doesn't it?
I mean, one of my requirements for black belt is you can teach. And you don't have a qualified teacher. You just have to have some experience teaching. Because that means now you have to fucking break everything down. Because in my opinion, when you get to black belt, and I was talking to Tony about this the other night as well, and we both agree on this, and I'm sure many, many other black belts do too. When I first started martial arts under Ralph Burgo, and he said to me, I said, what happens after black belt? You go back to white belt. Right, oh, fucking hell, that's a bit fucking boring. You know, because I'm Bruce fucking Lee, aren't I? You know what I mean? But he's dead right. I went back so after my first black belt, how do we get better? You go back to your first techniques, but you look at them through a black belt's eyes, and you break it down and you make yourself better at them basics, because it's the basics that win. It's not the fancy shit. The fancy shit's cool, but the fancy shit doesn't win fights. Good basics win fights. So you go back to your white belt and go, this is how you move. This is how you do this. This is your footwork. This is that. And you break it down. So the best way to do that, teach it. Because now you have to fucking break it down. You have to break down every detail in your head, even if you don't show every detail to a student. Because a student will get it wrong. And you've got to be able to look at that and go, what's wrong? He's moving around like a spaz. What the fuck's wrong with that? Right? But you've got to know the detail so you can immediately go, that foot's in the wrong place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you to have that level of detail and to understand it, because loads of times, even now I teach and I forget I've done something.
Yeah.
And then one of the black belts will go, what Dave hasn't told you is he's putting his hand there.
Yeah, or turning your hip a certain way.
Right.
Or like anything little
or
like
his
that.
pressure's here and whatever. And I haven't noticed.
Yeah. But it's just something that you do.
Yeah.
So it is one of those weird things, isn't it? Where you just do it, but to show it, like there's only, sometimes you forget little bits that you do.
It's a different level, isn't it?
Yeah.
Different level.
Different.
But that's what'll make you fucking mint at whatever you're doing. Try and teach it. Yeah. Once you think you know it and you've hit it on people, you try and teach that shit. Yeah. Try and get someone else to do it. Yeah.
What are the current plans then? What are the near future? What are the plans for the gym in general?
Well, although I started the gym and Amanda made it work, okay, right? Now the new generation taking over. Zach's taken over the management of the whole place, so he runs everything. All I do, I rock up and I suck my own dick basically on the mat for a bit, and then I go home. But he's the guy who does all the work, not me.
Yeah.
Right? I don't do any of the fucking hard graft. Because I know running the business is much harder than teaching.
Yeah.
Much harder. Okay. Which I didn't know when I started. Otherwise, I wouldn't have started. Right. But I thought it's just training partners, right? But that isn't how it works. Anyway, so Zach runs it now. So he's leading it and taking it into the future and making it hopefully, because he's my nephew, it's like a family business now, right? So, well, it always was with me and Amanda, but now it's truly a family business because it's been passed on.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it's up to Zach to make it successful, or at least keep it alive and maybe take it to another level. So it's an interview with him you need, okay, about what's coming in the future. In the meantime, me and Amanda are just going to support his decisions, keep the standard of the gym there, okay, and make sure everyone gets the knowledge they need, even if it isn't off us, to get the knowledge you need to be competent and hopefully expert martial artists.
Yeah. Did you always have him in mind?
No, I had no fucking idea what I was going to do with it, right? But I knew I couldn't do it forever because my body's falling to fucking bits. So I thought, at first, I was kind of looking around me, and Amanda were looking around different coaches we had here who we could pass it on to and things like that. Because I had no other family members training. So I haven't got any kids. So it's like, who do you fucking pass it on to, right? Anyway, so then Zach started training. And I didn't jump to mind at first because he'd only just started training, and then he got his blue belt in Jits, and then he stuck at it, and he started getting better and better and better. And I thought, well, he seems like the ideal fucking person, right? Because he's completely gets what the gym's about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The legacy of the gym for me isn't about producing pro fighters. Loads of people are better than that, right? So like you got your sub-zones of the world, you know what I mean? And they're producing fucking top class fighters. That's not what I ever planned. I wanted, originally, apart from sparring partners, I wanted to produce a gym that was teaching competent live martial arts, but accessible by everybody, okay? You didn't have to be an athlete. You didn't have to be fucking 16. You didn't have to be built like a fucking racehorse. All you had to be is willing to learn and just keep turning up. So the guy in the street, the housewife who's in her 30s and 40s can turn up and they'll learn something without getting their teeth smashed down their throat. Okay, because the amount of fucking gyms I've been in the past, like Thai boxing gyms, wrestling gyms, and you can smell the adrenaline when you walk in, and they're not really mates. They're looking at you like you're a fucking piece of meat and trying to figure out how I'm going to smash him today, right? Don't get me wrong, there's a place for that, right? You know what I mean? Because I love that kind of gym, but there's a place for that. But it frustrated me that other people couldn't see the beauty of the martial arts because they were terrified of walking in that fucking door, you know? It's my job. I know I'm rough around the edges and I know I swear a lot and stuff like that. I see that as a sign of IQ, though, right? But I want to be that gatekeeper. So when people walk in, I'm going to look after you. Nobody's going to hurt you. You're going to learn the martial arts. I'm still on this fucking mat. So if somebody wants to be a dick, they'll go through me because I will fuck them up if they fuck you up. You know what I mean? It's my job to make sure you learn something and you're safe fucking learning it. Right? And you're having fun. Yeah? Have fun fucking learning it. You shouldn't be stressed out walking into the gym thinking, I better put my groin box on, I better gun shield in, I better pump myself up.
You don't want every single time you go into the gym to be you just kind of getting absolutely hammered. You want to be learning.
Right.
You don't
got
want
to be learning. It's a learning gym.
There are places, aren't there, for people who, if they really want to go, you know what, I'm taking it to the top, of course, you know. But you want a place where everyone can just train and enjoy it. Right?
I mean, we've got classes set aside, as you know. We've got classes set aside, competition classes if you want to go to competition, and you can fucking hammer yourself there, and they'll push you right to the edge. That's great. But I've always said to everyone, yes, I can take you to that level where you want to compete, but nobody's ever required to compete in this gym. I don't give a shit. 99% of our members are never going to step in a ring or have no interest in doing a wrestling match. Don't fucking blame them. Don't blame them. I get it. You know what I mean? I get it. Don't fucking blame them. They've got a full-time job. They've got kids. You know what this is? This is the tree house for adults, right? It is. It's your tree house for adults, right? Blokes want to get out of the house, have some fun with his mates, talk shit about fucking whatever, girls, I'm hard, all that shit. But they want to be able to say to the missus they've been to the fucking gym. So they come here, they hang out with the mates, they wrestle the fucking mates like the kids, have a bit of boxing and stuff, a bit of kickboxing, get beat up and sweaty, go on with a black eye because you think, I'm a fucking man. I'm a man again. And then go home, I've been training all night, love, don't give me that shit. Right, okay, you know what I mean? Been at the gym. And they've had a good laugh with the fucking mates. And they're keeping in shape. They're doing what they want. This is their gang. This is their treehouse. This is what adults want, yeah? This is why we have ladies' classes, because ladies don't like that, right? Yeah. Women, I don't know what they do in the ladies. What do they do in the ladies' classes, Zach? I'm not saying you're a lady, but what the fuck, you know? Yeah, right, okay, right. So ladies have a different attitude and have a different class. Amanda used to run the ladies' classes because I couldn't fucking work it out, right? So she used to run that. I used to come in sometimes, eating cake on the fucking Macs at someone's birthday. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's brilliant. Oh, bless them. They're having a good time.
Right?
They're having a good time.
They're having a good time, right? So I'll let it go. I didn't really understand, but I'll let it go. Yeah. That's what they want to do in a ladies' class. They can fucking do that, right? You know, each to their own. But now that's their fucking gang. You know what I mean? That's their treehouse, you know? Yeah. Boys didn't share their treehouse with the girls, did they? No, because you were a knob, right? Boys are knobs, right? So you know what I mean? Yeah. Girls are prim, proper, and they look at boys like we're fucking retarded. Because most of the time we are, right? Okay, so it's fair dues, right? But this is exactly the same here. You see guys, missus coming here, and you go, oh, love, you got to try this. And they look at you and go, you fucking retarded. I'm not fucking doing that. But then you see the girls' class and go, oh, do that. Yeah. That's what I'll do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's a completely different ball game.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so yeah. So this is what this gym's for. It's the treehouse for accessible to everybody, you know? And so, you know, there's pro gyms out there if you want it. Go there. But this ain't one. You know what I mean? This is for everybody, you know?
That's awesome, man. Cool. Thank you very much for today, Dave. Cheers, man.
Good time, man.
Dave Kari.